Hi there, this is Amy Kynes from Ready Aim Teach. I hope this finds you doing really well, and I hope you've had a very successful start of your school year. Today, I wanted to share a couple of tips of how you can continue to engage your students at a high level. So what we're going to talk about today are foldables. If you've taken a Ready Aim Teach workshop, you know we are passionate about using foldables, three-dimensional graphic organizers, to actively engage your students. A foldable is a simple way to take knowledge, take content, or take critical thinking, get it onto paper. But not just get it onto paper that's one-dimensional, but actually make something three-dimensional. Make something that kids can manipulate. So students will need paper, and if you want to grab a sheet of paper, you can take paper. I'm just going to show you a simple one-tab foldable. Take paper. You're going to hamburger fold it. Hamburger folding it is the fatter way. Hot dog folding it would be the longer way. You're going to just fold it over on itself. What you've created is now a one-tab foldable. It's three-dimensional, right? So instead of just writing on a piece of notebook paper or having kids type into a Google form, they now have something kinesthetic that they can open and close. And what the research tells us is that when students are using foldables, they feel much more positive about the content, they hold on to the information for a lot longer, and there's actually less discipline because they've got something to do with their hands. So a one-tab foldable is great if you want kids to zero in on a central concept or a theme or a particular character from a novel or a historical figure. So this is a great kind of a foldable that you might use for something like that. It's also great for community building. So in the beginning of the year, as kids are exploring and getting to know families, for example. So here's a foldable. This is my family, my artistic ability here. Here's my family. So a student might draw their family. Then there's lots of real estate. So you've got your outside. Here's the beginning, the lid. You've got the door, inside door of it. I might then describe who is in that picture and what the relationship to me is. Then I might, on the wall, I might describe somewhere we like to go or something my family likes to do. And then on the back door, I can describe maybe a family tradition, depending on the age level of my students. But having something to hold on to can be really comforting to students, whether they are in kindergarten or whether they are high school seniors, right? Having something to hold on to as I'm going to have a conversation gives me a level of comfort so that I have something to do. And for your students who are a little bit wiggly, again, whether they're in high school or whether they are in elementary school, having something to open and shut sometimes takes that wiggliness away from them because this is a very kinesthetic activity for them. So you can use it for community building like that. You might also do something like this where you ask students to find a quote that speaks to them. So for example, the student has written a quote on the outside. They found something that was important to them. And again, instead of just bringing it or typing it into a Google form, they've got this kinesthetic activity. So they have their quote. Then they have the interpretation of the quote, what that quote, how they interpreted it, and then why they selected that quote. Why was that important to them? And then on the back, they could draw an illustration of what that quote means to them or how it speaks to them or what that means in the outside world. So there's lots of ways you can use it, but you could also use it in the academic world too. So as you're moving into your teaching part, so a math example, you might have your students be solving a math equation. So the equation goes on the outside. Students then might, on the door, they might solve the equation. Then they might have to write to explain how they solved the equation and then discuss why that kind of equation is important in the outside world. How does that connect in the real world? How might you use that type of math in the real world? We're always wanting our students to make those connections. That relevance we know is so critical. So those are just a couple ways that you can use a simple one-tab foldable to engage your students. Now, we know not everything you teach is just one central concept. Sometimes it's 2, 3, 4, 7, 8 parts. You can take a one-tab foldable once you've taught your students a one-tab and divide it into as many sections as you want. You just take it, fold it into that many parts. So if we had 2, here's a 2-tab. If I had 4, I would have divided it into 4 sections. And then if I have scissors, I can cut. If not, I teach my students to tear. I just cut up on the fold, and now I have a 2-tab. In our workshop that we have coming up, Fold and Learn, using multiple modalities to boost critical thinking, we explore lots of different ways, and you can see from my bulletin board here, lots of different ways to engage students. We show you lots of examples of different ways teachers have used foldables to engage their students. These tabbed foldables is just one small example. So we've got this one-day course. It's called Fold and Learn, using multiple modalities to boost critical thinking. It's coming up on September 26th. It's a one-day course worth 1 graduate credit. So you can take it for 1 graduate credit with Trinity University. There's lots of information on our website, and we'd love to have you join us. The idea is to engage our students, whether they're with us in our classroom, whether we've got a hybrid model going on, or whether it's distance learning. Our students can still be engaged, and if they can be using a foldable to manipulate, to get the thinking out of their head, to organize the content, and to think at a deep level, that's a win for all of us. So on behalf of all of us at Ready Aim Teach, thank you so much for what you are doing for your students each and every day, and we hope to see you at a Ready Aim Teach workshop very soon. Take care.